Talking about the politics of Canada, especially Ontario. I am Peter Beimers, two-time candidate for the New Blue Party of Ontario. Let's get to it. Doug Ford, during COVID, did one of those things. Well, he did many things, really, but I'm just going to focus in on the one. Did something where it tremendously backfired in the long game. You could file it under, it came with the best of intentions. What could possibly go wrong? This time, he said, if you're a tenant and you can't pay rent because of COVID, the landlord cannot evict you. As if the landlord can afford non-payment for months on end from their tenant, and if they own an apartment building, from multiple tenants. I'm sure they still had to pay their bills, which would include the mortgage on the building in which the tenant is living in. As a result, the tenants haven't not only have, but they got a new sense of entitlement, this time free rent. Even the Airbnbs were affected. There's a case of the owners of one Airbnb rented out their room for a weekend, and now they're not leaving. And it's been going on for over a year. And they've gone to the Airbnb board, they've gone to the tenant landlords board, they've gone to the police, they've gone to the courts, and seemingly nothing can be done. And really, the average wait times to get seen and heard by the landlord tenant board is quite astounding. It's much longer than you probably would have guessed. Just for non-payment of rent, you're looking at up to 3 months. Other things, 5 to 7 months. From the other side of point, if you're a tenant and you believe you've been illegally locked out of your home, you're looking at 5 to 6 weeks of getting heard or seen by the landlord tenant board, which is unbelievable. And some are reporting that depending on their case, they're looking at up to 2 years or more before their issue is getting resolved. Meanwhile, bills are getting backed up. Late charges and interest charges are being added up. Stress and anxiety is growing. Families are growing tired of this non-resolvement, and I think the only ones getting rich off of this is the lawyers. And all this waiting costs money to the tenants, to the landlords alike, depending on the type of hearing. All to say that this is unacceptable. So how did we get to this point? How did it grow to some uncontrollably large numbers? Well, this is another one of those well-intentioned moves by Doug Ford that backfired big time. He says, let's cancel the in-person hearings and let's shift to going virtual. Let's just do this over the computer screen. In theory, you think, well, this should work. But in reality, it failed miserably because you got to have all the parties involved actually log on at the same time and know how to use the thing. And if they've been illegally locked out of their building, their computer might be inside. How are they going to get at it? Now, instead of protecting property rights of owners, Ford is now taking a page out of the NDP. He's attacking those who've worked hard to own, subtly sending a message and supporting the belief that those who have are in the wrong, they're evil, and they've got that way because they oppress. At the same time, supporting the belief that the have-nots are only that way because they are oppressed. So let's just give them a helping hand. By, in this case, let's stretch out the backlog of cases that is going. That'll at least buy you a few months or to a couple of years of living rent-free, even if you do get evicted. Then you can start renting somewhere else and not pay rent there, and just the cycle repeating itself. The New Blue Party of Ontario is the only provincial party in Ontario who will defend the property rights of owners. Policy number 31 states that we would like to see hearings take place within 30 days. That is to evict tenants who refuse to pay their rent, who do damage to property, evicted within 30 days. None of this 2 to 3 months, 2 years nonsense going on. Let's just get rid of the red tape, the administrative costs that are involved, which is slowing everything down, and get everything settled within 30 days, and all those numbers will be much more manageable. And those numbers are pretty astounding. After the COVID fiasco, when that all settled down, say 2023, those numbers were well over 53,000 cases. Today, we're still looking at over 41,000 cases from the Landlord's Tenant Board of Ontario that need to be heard. And it doesn't need to take so long. Let's just get this dealt with within 30 days, because people need to move on. There are those who legitimately want a home and are willing to pay rent but can't, because there are homes in apartment buildings where squatters are in there not paying rent, laughing about it. And there are those who otherwise could rent out to families but can't, because their former tenants have become these squatters. And these squatters are stealing from their former landlords money, time, space, and they're stealing a home from others who really could use and want one, and they're willing to pay for one. Tenants are great people to have in your building that you own. You own a second home, a third home, and you're renting it out to tenants. To have a great tenant is a blessing for the landlords. But squatters, I have heard from landlords, suck the joy out of the experience of rental properties. They say, I have had landlords tell me that after they've got the squatters out of their house, they want nothing more after they fix it up because of the damages, just to sell it and get rid of that headache. And that's too bad. We don't need that. We don't want that. We want happy landlords. We want happy tenants. We want people who pay their rent on time and not do damage to the property. Perhaps if these squatters want to live rent-free so bad, perhaps we should accommodate them with prison time. Well, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. And if you like what you hear, share with your friends, like, and subscribe for when new videos are posted every Monday night. Now, with a little baseball note at the end of all that, something a little cheerier to focus on. The Dylan Cease signing last week, probably easily the biggest free agent signing so far this offseason, not just for the Blue Jays, but in Major League Baseball. So I think now that the American Thanksgiving has come and gone, and the New Year is coming up, Christmas, I think we're going to see a flurry of free agent signings. Perhaps the big boys are probably going to wait until January to get the most out of they can, but I think we're going to start seeing some movement on the free agent market. And right now, the Blue Jays are shaping up to have the best rotation in baseball for 2026. Now they just need to keep working on that bullpen, sign one more impact bat. I would love that impact bat to be Bo Bichette.